Today we're talking about website optimization for Google. I'll do another lesson on Google Business Profile optimization because that's another important one, but today we're talking about website. And you really can't skip this part. A lot of people, when they get a dental website, just hire a company and say, build me a pretty website. And if it's pretty and it works, you're good. That's not quite that easy. So let's talk about all the bits and pieces that you need in there. Because when you've got great SEO going, it impacts so many things. It's going to impact your visibility, the amount of traffic coming to your site, and how you get more patients in. So let's talk about visibility for just a second. When you're found in the SERPs, so in the search engine results pages, because people are typing in words and Google has recognized that your website has those words on them and sends them there, it means that you're more likely to show up in those top 3. We're trying to be in the top 3. Now, first page for sure, which usually is the top 9 or 10, but top 3 would be ideal. And so if people are more likely to see you in the top part of the search results, they're more likely to click on that and then land on your website, right? So you get more visibility when you have good SEO on your site, which means you get more traffic. And organic traffic's important. So people typing in keywords and you coming up, because yes, people pay for Google ads and stuff to have paid traffic, but research shows that most people actually skip the paid ads at the top and head to the first 3 of the organic traffic or the map pack that lands above or below that. And map pack, that has more to do with Google Business. We're not going to talk about that today, but you want to show up in the top 3 of the organic results if possible, because that means more people will click on you and land on your website. And then of course, we're going to get there in a second. Your website's got to be good because it has to be able to convert those people into new patients. So this means good SEO helps with patient acquisition, because if you're being seen by more people and more people are clicking and more traffic is driving to your site, especially people who are using words searching for the things that you do, it means you have a better chance of those people turning into patients in your practice. And it makes a ton of sense to me, hopefully to you too, that finding people organically through search results is more likely to convert into paying patients than having some kind of Facebook ad running that's like a disruption ad, like just trying to get someone's attention, because most people aren't thinking about going to the dentist while they're scrolling Facebook, right? So, but people who sit down on their computer and type in words about what you do are probably looking for what you do, which means you're being more targeted. You're like finding specific people who are looking for your stuff. So in summary, SEO in general helps your practice get noticed online, which means it drives more people to your website, and hopefully your website is then converting them to new patients and they're showing up to your practice. And then of course, what you do within the 4 walls of your practice is what determines whether they stay and whether they pay and all of that good stuff. But that's what we want. We want people coming through the doors of our practices, because if you're not growing, you're shrinking. So it's important to always have that new patient flow. And SEO is a great, relatively inexpensive compared to ads, way to keep your visibility up. So let's talk about the key components of SEO for your webpage. The biggest one we're going to talk about is on-page SEO, meaning what are the things that exist on your website itself that help Google to put you where you need to be seen. Okay, the first one, I'm going to use some words. I'm going to describe them for you. These are not complicated. They're just web people words like we have dental people words. So there are titles, tags, and meta descriptions on pages. And it's really important that, as an example, on a web page, let's talk your home page for a second. On your home page, you should have one H1 tag, meaning there's one place on your site where H1, header 1, the biggest, like the title, exists. And then you can have as many H2s, H3s, whatever H4s as you want. But the importance of these titles and tags is that your keywords really should be in there somewhere. So the things, Google knows that headers are important. So if you have an H1, 5 H2s, 12 H3s on your page, if keywords are in those headers, Google knows that those are the main points, the big things that you're talking about on those pages. And that's really, really important. The meta description is the description that pops up in Google if someone types in. So someone types in braces Calgary and my little thing pops up in the search results that says braces Calgary impact orthodontics, which is the name of my practice. The meta description is a little paragraph that shows up underneath that might say, looking for the best orthodontist in Calgary, get your braces at Impact Orthodontics, right? So something like that in the little meta description down below. Here's a few key things. You can only have one H1. Okay. If your page has more than one, it can get in trouble. So only one H1. And then, like I said, as many H2s, H3s, H4s as you want below that. The content has to be readable. So you can't, it used to be back in the day, a thing where they would just like keyword stuff pages. So you just have keywords everywhere, like in the headers, in the paragraphs, like just, you'd read it and be like, this doesn't even make sense. It can't be like that anymore. Google's smarter than that. AI is getting better. Google wants it to be readable, usable, applicable, valuable content to anyone who lands there. So you have to come up with good creative ways to be using your keywords in ways that still seem like a normal web page language and not like you were some kind of spammer robot-y thing that's happening. So the content has to be good quality. It has to be relevant. It has to make sense, but it has to have the keywords on it that are important. We'll talk about how to find keywords in a second. And of course, you should be using images on your web page. People underestimate how important images can be on the page for SEO. Every time you have a picture on your web page, Google lets you put in something called alt text, which would describe to someone who maybe was visually impaired what that photo is about. You can do things like put keywords in alt text, which helps Google a ton with knowing what's on your page. So as an example, I'll tell you, this is the sneaky way I use it a lot. It's not really sneaky. So let's say I have a picture of a beautiful smiling teenage girl on my site with braces on her teeth, and it's my page about braces. I would say in my alt description, young girl or teenager wearing braces on her teeth from best orthodontist in Calgary, something like that, right? So if I'm optimizing that page for braces and best orthodontist Calgary, then those things are all in there, right? Something like that. So you can use your alt text effectively to help you get more keywords on your page without looking like you're trying to stuff keywords all over your page. Okay, so on page is important. So that's what happens on your actual web page. And of course, if someone built your site for you or you're not going in to update your site, it's okay if you don't know which the H1, H2, H3 tags are on the site. You just need to be able to ask someone to tell you what they are so you can look at them and decide if they're the way you want them. Do they have keywords in them that are important for you? Okay. Now, there's another part of SEO that is important to your website, which is what we call off-page SEO, which are the things that happen not on your site, but on other sites. Backlinks are one example. A backlink is simply a link from another website back to your site. It tells Google that your site is really, really important. The better quality site that links back to your site, the more it's worth to your site, according to Google. So if you had a really great site, let's say for whatever reason, the AAO website was linking back to your site, that would be a very high quality backlink because it's an important big site with probably lots of domain authority and it's pointing back to you. So good other sites that link back to you are super important. There are many ways to build these. We're not going to talk about that. You probably just need an SEO specialist type person to do that for you, but backlinks are important because Google likes to know that your site is important to other sites, meaning it's more important in general. The other way you can get backlinks is through social media signals. So if you have a YouTube channel, if you have TikTok, if you have Instagram, Facebook, whatever that is, when you have those profiles set up correctly and links in there. So almost every social media profile set up, you would have your website, like your homepage at least on there. There are social media channels where you're allowed to put web pages. As an example, YouTube is my favorite. In YouTube, in the description of every video you ever post, there should be a backlink. You should put a backlink back to your site in there because YouTube is owned by Google. And so Google really likes its own signals. So if your stuff's all over YouTube, then Google's like, ooh, good site, right? And it's making that signal important. It means your web page ranks higher, okay? The last one I'll talk about for off-page SEO is what we call citations, which just means where are you listed in a directory, like your business listed in a directory on the web. That could be like the Yellow Pages or on the Find a Doctor site on the AAO or whatever, like anywhere where your practice name, address, and phone number, we call that the NAP, name, address, and phone number, anywhere the NAP would show up on the internet is a backlink to your site. It's important to have. And there are free tools online that you can use. I like one called White Spark, where you can go in and put in the name of your practice and it will actually show how many citations you have. And it'll tell you how many citations your competitors have so you can try to beat them. That's the key about SEO actually, is just beating everyone else in your space. That's really what it's about. The last thing we'll talk about for SEO for your website is the technical side. Again, you do not have to be a web developer or designer or builder to do anything about this or to understand this, because you might not have to do the fix, but you can ask people to check this for you. So I have people who manage my website. I can do most of it on my own. I love this stuff, but I don't have time. So someone else does it. One of the biggest things for technical SEO is your website speed. It is very, very important that it loads very quickly. You can use a free tool. Google Page Speed Insights is one of them. Another is called Pingdom, like Pingdom, where you can put in your website and it will tell you how fast you're loading and all of that good stuff. It also tells you if you're not loading quickly, what the problem is, which you can just give to your web people to have them fix it, because speed is important. If your site is loading slowly, someone will bounce. Not cool. Now, the other thing for technical SEO that's important is how mobile friendly is your website. So does it load quickly? Does it look right? Like size of images, size of text, all of that. Is it user friendly? Is it responsive? Right? You need to make sure that open your site on your cell phone and make sure that it's working the way that you want it to work. You should also always make sure that you have an SSL certificate, a secure sockets layer certificate for your site, meaning your web address would be HTTPS, not HTTP. Okay. And if you don't have that, just ask your web people to put it on there for you. Those are really important for the technical side of SEO. Now, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about user experience on your website. I don't think there's anything wrong with a really beautiful, like beautifully designed site. But I will say it's not the only thing that matters, especially to Google. Google actually doesn't love a highly, we'll say, designed or coded site, because it means there's a lot of HTML, a lot of code in the background, and some of the pages, your pages probably don't have very many words on them. Google doesn't like that ratio because it doesn't feel like it would be very helpful to a user to land on that page if there really aren't very many words and there's just a lot of design going on. So your user experience of your website is all about the overall experience a visitor has when they visit your site, which of course, part of that is about it looking nice. Because we want user experience to be good because it impacts the engagement of people on the site. So if someone lands on your site and it's just like, let's say no pictures, the worst website you've ever seen. I've seen some of these, no pictures, just words. People are likely to bounce. That's not fun to look at. So they're just going to go to the next website on the list. And so you're not going to get very good engagement. And bounce rate is something Google looks at. If people are landing and leaving right away, it'll start showing your website to fewer people because it means that it's not the right thing. It's not landing them in the place that they wanted to end up. Google really likes when people hang out. Dwell time, they call it, where like someone lands on your site and they're on that page for a long time, or they click to several other pages and they're like spending time looking at different things on your site. That means a lot to Google. You also want a good user experience because if you have good navigation and structure, it means people will stay there longer and they will do more things. Okay. Another key thing here is that you should have internal links on your pages, meaning if someone's on a page all about Invisalign, there may be links on that page to an Invisalign blog article you've written, maybe out to Invisalign, telling you more about Invisalign itself as an example. But Google likes it when your pages talk or speak to or link to other pages. Ideally, you want them to link to a bunch of your other pages, but it is good to have an external link every now and again that goes somewhere else saying like, hey, this content is relevant and valid and important to, the other stuff that's here. When your site is mobile friendly, this is also about user experience. 80% of searches are done on phones. And so if that's the case, if your site is not mobile friendly, they're leaving. They're not going to do the thing you want them to do when they get there. That also means it has to load really fast. So although load speed and mobile friendliness is part of technical SEO, it's also a huge part of user experience. So you can't overlook that part. And of course, the content has to be quality. It has to make sense. It has to be easy to read. It has to be split up with different headings and all of that good stuff, just so that it's easy for people to digest whatever it is you have there. But Google likes it done that way as well. So what if you want to try to do some SEO by yourself? I do a lot. I do a lot of SEO stuff by myself. And then I've had many companies over the years do SEO stuff for me. And right now I'm doing a combination. I have a little bit of SEO being done by a company, and then I do some of the SEO myself. So if you want to do SEO on your own, you don't need to become an SEO expert. That is not, you don't need that. There are many, many tools that exist online that help you do SEO, that give you the basic information you need so that you can do a few things by yourself. Now, if you happen to be well-versed in the back end of your website, it's easy to do a few things because you can do some word changes, meaning you can decide on which pages of your website you're trying to target which keywords, and you can go in and make sure your H1, H2, H3 headers have those words in there if they don't already, and start to optimize the page for the keywords that you're thinking. As an example, a good guideline is you want your keyword on a page once for every 250 words on the page. So let's say your home page has about 500 words on it. You want to make sure that the keyword you're trying to rank for is on there about 2 times. You don't want it on there 6 times. That's called keyword stuffing. Google doesn't like it. So you want to make sure that the words that you want the page to show up for are on the page the right number of times, but not too many times. Okay. I would say if with a 500 word page, I'd have it 2 to 3 times on there. That's it. That's it. You can have other versions of the word or the keyword phrase, but have that exact phrase you're trying to rank for only that many times. You can use tools that exist for free on the internet, like Google Analytics and Google Search Console, to help you do things like research what keywords you should be using, to see how your site is currently doing for certain keywords so you can figure out if you want to make changes to do better for that keyword. I think it's super important also to try to figure out what your competition is doing, because they're the people you need to beat. If you are, trying to rank for a local business, which all of us are, local SEO is the most important, meaning how are you showing up to the people who are in the neighborhood where your practice is? And if there are practices that are consistently beating you in the search rankings, means like sit on your computer, open an incognito window, and just start typing in the keywords you think people would be typing in to find you, and see which practices are showing up. Go to their websites, see what they look like, see what words they have on there, like see how they have it set up, because they're ranking higher than you for many reasons likely, but you can probably see what a few of them are. And to beat someone in the SEO game just means beating the people you're competing against. You're not competing against every orthodontist or dentist in all of the United States or Canada. You are literally only competing with the people in your area or your city. And so you just need to beat them. You just need to be doing better at this game than they are doing at this game. It takes time, probably 6 to 12 months to be able to consistently make a difference and jump ahead of people. But if you keep doing that, you never stop, you can easily rank in the top 3. It's just something you have to do consistently. Now, there are some really fancy SEO tools out there that I love because I play with this a lot. The one I use is called SEMrush, SEMrush. There are other ones like Moz, MOZ, and Ahrefs, AHREFS. And some of them have a free version or a free trial version, and then it's paid versions after that. They give you all kinds of details. You can do full competitor research. You can do full keyword research. You can look up every bit and piece of a page and the back end and all that stuff. That's probably way too much unless you decide you love SEO and you want to be making a second career out of it. But you can do things, like I said, for your site around title tags and meta descriptions, because you can look all that stuff up or have your web people give that to you, and then you can modify it. So I've been on pages where I've checked people's stuff out where most of their pages don't have a meta description, meaning if it were to come up on Google, there's no paragraph describing what that page is about. And Google cares a lot about the meta description. So there are lots of things you can tweak and adjust. So the biggest thing is around words. SEO is all about words when we talk about what's on your page itself. So you need to have more words than your competitors, and you need to have more of the right words than your competitors. Another thing you can check for is, do you have any broken links? Is there anything on your site that's broken, meaning you click on it, it doesn't go anywhere? Google doesn't like that, and people don't like that because it's frustrating to be on a site and to click on something and it doesn't take you where it's supposed to take you. And you can check on your own optimizing images. You can make sure that alt text is on images in the way that you want it to be, so that it's helping your page to rank for the things that you want it to rank for. Now, I know most people have zero desire to do SEO stuff themselves, and that's fine. There are some great SEO people out there that you can hire, either at generic big marketing companies or people that specifically just do SEO stuff. And so I wanted to give you guys a tool here because there are some questions you're going to want to ask them. And I always say, you don't need to know as much or more than they need to know, but you need to know what is important to know about SEO so that you can hire the right person. Because I've been in many conversations with SEO marketing people where I do know more than they know, and that is very telling because I shouldn't know more than they know. I shouldn't. So I'm going to give you my list of 13 questions that you should ask a marketing agency who you want to have help you with your SEO, meaning help you with how you are showing up in Google so more people can find you on the internet. I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't want this to be better than it already is, unless you are already currently ranking #1 for every keyword you could ever think of that someone might search for in your area for the services you provide at your practice. So here are some questions you can ask people, and I'll give you a little explanation as to why it's a good question to ask. So you have that background. You might want to take some notes if you want to interview some companies here. Question #1, what is your approach to SEO? Now, this is just you trying to get an understanding of their overall strategy. It's okay if it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you, but they are going to explain to you how they plan to improve how your site is ranking in the SERPs. Like, how are they going to make it so you show up better? You want to make sure, so here's the key, that they're covering a lot of bases here. They should be talking about things that are on-page SEO related, like I did, and off-page SEO related, and technical SEO related. It shouldn't just be one of those three. It has to be aspects of all of those three. They all work together. Question #2, can you provide case studies or examples of past successes? Of course, it's lovely to be able to see success and the timeline of that success, because anybody can claim they can do anything. It would be nice to have evidence that they can actually do that thing. And if you are a dental practice, and if you're watching this, you are, it would be nice to know if they've been successful improving someone in the dental or healthcare or adjunct healthcare field, right? Something that's adjacent or related to dentistry, because you want to know that they can deliver results. And you know what? I have nothing against new people. If it's someone who's relatively new, then talk to them about their strategy for gauging success and when they make changes and do they have any sort of guarantee? And like there's usually newer companies, they could be phenomenal at what they do, but knowing that they don't have a lot of case studies, maybe they only have 1 or 2 people they've worked with, or maybe just for their own business and they're trying to expand, it doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing. It just means that you may need some extra guarantees or communication with them around that, because honestly, the hardest part about SEO is you don't get results right away. It's one of those things you have to get into it and trust the process. For most businesses, most local practices, it takes 3 to 6 months before you start seeing any changes at all, and you have to be consistent. So that's important to know. Question #3. How do you stay updated with the latest SEO trends and algorithm changes? You guys all have probably heard about Google changing crap all the time. It happens all the time. Meaning what Google decides is important and how it ranks things changes all the time. And with a new leak that we just had, we found out that Google's actually been lying to us for years about what it thinks is important, and it ranks things much higher than it says it had, and yada, yada, yada. I love a good leak. But you want to make sure that they have an answer to that question. It's sort of like saying, as a dentist, someone saying to you, how do you keep up to date on all the new technology in dentistry? It's changing constantly. You would have an answer for that. They should have an answer for that too. Question #4. What are the key metrics you track to measure SEO success? You don't need to know what the metrics are, but there are things that an SEO person should be looking at to make sure that there's a difference. You always want to know that you're getting an ROI of some kind, right? Some kind of return on your investment. So if you're paying a company $1,000 a month, I'm just tossing numbers at you, $1,000 a month to increase your SEO, and they're working on your webpage and maybe your Google business, right? So you're paying them money, and they say, okay, within 6 months, we should be able to see rising numbers in your organic traffic. We should see your conversion rates on your website go up. We should see keyword rankings rising. We should be able to look on a map tracker and see that you're ranking better for Google Map Pack. Your bounce rates will be down, or whatever. They would have some metrics, things that they look at to make sure that they can tell and show to you that what they're doing is making a difference, that is having a positive effect on this, because otherwise there's no point in doing it if it's not making things better. Okay. Now, number 5, how do you approach keyword research for my dental practice? I like this because, to be honest, someone who's not dental probably off the top of their head wouldn't necessarily know what people are looking for or what services you provide or any of that stuff. So you want to make sure they've got a strategy for how they're going to do keyword research to decide which keywords they actually need to be making sure they have on your website and in your blog posts and or whatever else is happening on your site to up your SEO. And so it may be that they're going to ask you, or they're going to use your website, or they're going to send you a survey, or they're going to research all your competition who's beating you. I mean, I think that's a great answer. Research the competition. Do what they're doing, but better. Number 6, what is your link building strategy? So I talked about backlinks. They are very, very important. It is very time consuming to get good backlinks. So you want to know how they go about getting high quality backlinks for your site. What is their strategy? Are they outsourcing it? A lot of people do. There's nothing wrong with that. But how do they know that they're getting backlinks from high quality, high domain authority sites? It's important to know how they're doing that, because there are some black hat strategies, we call them, which are Google is frowns upon. And if Google realizes you're doing things in the quick and dirty way, then you're going to be punished. So your website will be punished for that. So you want to make sure it's always white hat strategies, meaning things that are on the up and up and legitimate. Number 7, how do you ensure the technical health of my website? So how are they going to do things like make sure your site is fast and mobile friendly and secure? How often are they testing it? As an example, my web people aren't very good at this. And so I'm on them all the time. I'll test the site and be like, it's slow again, guys. They'll go and fix it. But I don't think they're doing a very good job on their own on checking this stuff. Number 8, how do you integrate SEO with other aspects of digital marketing? So because SEO ties in to all of your other online presence, whatever paid marketing you're doing, whatever social media you're doing, like any other stuff that you put on the internet, these things are all interrelated. It would be important that they also have a holistic approach. So they might say, oh, great, who's doing all this other stuff for you, or who can be my contact person? I'll make sure I talk to them to make sure that we have communication about what each group or each person is working on, to make sure that we are working on the same things using similar keywords, similar strategies, all that stuff. You want to make sure that they're willing to work with other people, especially if you have other people. Ask them what type of reporting they provide and how often. So are they sending you out something monthly with those KPIs that they're tracking? You want to make sure that you could put something in front of yourself, over the last 6 months, and you could visibly see the changes, positive or negative, that are happening. So make sure you know how they're going to report to you. And then have them explain their pricing structure. So ask them, can you explain your pricing structure? Everyone's fees will be different. And I will say this, in the history of it's been 4 or 5 marketing companies I've worked with over the last 15 years. You get what you pay for, almost always. Definitely the people I've paid the most to have done the best things for me, and I've learned the most from them. The reason I'm DIY for a ton of my marketing and SEO now is because working with good companies, I learned a lot, and then I took some time to learn more. And really, really, really good people who do really, really good things for you online are going to cost some money. If you just go around searching for the cheapest, especially for SEO, you'll get a lot of that black hat. So a lot of spammy, weird stuff going on. And in the short term, sometimes it can totally make a difference to how your website shows up. But then as soon as Google realizes what's happening, it's bad and it's really tough to recover from. So you just don't want to go there. You can ask them, this is question number 11, if you're keeping track, how do you handle local SEO for dental practices? Local SEO is quite different from national SEO. So if someone was a company that was national, or even like a DSO that had practices over many states, it's a very different strategy than when you're just targeting local SEO. Local SEO is actually a little bit easier because we're really just targeting a very specific area. So are they going to mention, they should mention to you things like your Google My Business profile, because an SEO company would want to be using your Google Business profile as part of the strategy for local SEO. It's probably the most important piece. You also want to ask them, what are their expectations of your team? Because sometimes they're going to need some things from you. If they are constantly, so one of the keys to SEO is constantly putting new words and new content onto your website. Almost always that's in the form of a blog, because you can create blog posts that target different keywords so that your site ranks for many, many, many keywords. You're not going to keep adding like information pages to your site. So a blog is the easiest way to do this. A good SEO company will be adding content to your site constantly. So they may be asking you for content or be asking you to approve content or wanting to collaborate with you for content. You need to know this because it's going to take some of your time if they don't have people who are already dental experts writing all their content. Okay, so make sure that you know what they need from you and that you're okay with whatever that is. Okay, that was number 12. I think my number 13 is the same as that previous one. So I'm not even gonna, I think I just repeated myself. I'm not even gonna say that one. So you want to make sure that you're asking a lot of good questions to whoever is going to be doing SEO for you, just so you have a solid understanding of what you're getting yourself into. And I'm going to say it again, never do a short SEO contract. So if a company says, okay, yeah, I've got, you can do, we'll just do 2 months. You will never see significant results in 2 months unless literally no one in your area is doing anything, and that's highly unlikely. And so it's very difficult to gauge results in less than 6 months. And I know that makes it tough because to give someone 6 months of money and 6 months of time to not know for sure if it's making a huge difference is tough, but it is the way it is. There is no sneaky way around it. It just takes that long to get good at SEO. So if you made it to the end, thanks. I know this isn't super exciting for everybody, but I just think it's so important, which is why I keep talking about it. I am offering a free SEO audit to 5 practices, because this will take me a bit of time. So only 5. So the first 5 people to comment SEO below this video are going to get it. What I will do is I'll take a look at your website and your competition. So I'll look at everybody in your local area, and I'm going to record a video for you, walking you through what I found and how you kind of do the same thing over time, which is awesome. And I'll give you at least 3. Usually I give you way more than that. I'll give you at least 3 actionable steps that you can take to improve the SEO for your website, or you can tell your people to do for your website. So you can just give them that information if it's something that you don't want to do yourself. I love doing this because I think it's super fun to see what's happening in different communities. So 5 practices, only 5. The first 5 people to comment SEO below this video are going to get it. That's it. And I'm sorry, I will do it again. I just 5 at a time. You're going to have to give me a good 2 to 5 business days to get all 5 back. It just depends on my work schedule and when I can get in and do them, because it takes me a couple hours to do each one. And I will send you a video that walks you through everything I've found and how you can do that for yourself. And I'll give you some actionable steps you can take right away. Like I said, this is my jam. It's so fun to do this. So I'll send you some good information if you would like that, because it costs you nothing. Okay, ladies, I know it's not the most exciting of topics, but it has to be discussed. It really does. So good luck with all of your marketing and SEO game. I hope you have an awesome rest of your week. I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.